Is this the beginning of the end for Kurt Busch? I know a lot of people are probably going to think that I'm being too rash by asking this question right now, but I think that it's a warranted one to ask. For those that might not be in the know completely, Kurt Busch got a concussion in a qualifying crash at Pocono on Saturday. With this, he had to sit out at Pocono. And a lot of people thought, okay, well, it was a day removed. Maybe it's not something too bad. We can just see him the next week at Indy. But now he's going to sit out at Indy. And I'll read his statement in a moment, but now this is becoming something a little more serious as, yeah, it's a week after his concussion and he's not able to race. But if this is a week-by-week issue, it reminds me of a certain other issue. And again, we'll get to that in a moment. Now, Ty Gibbs will be driving for him again, just like he did at Pocono, so the 45 car is probably in good hands. But with the second week of not being cleared, what it reminds me completely of is Dale Jr. in 2016. If you remember in 2016, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was a little off, but he wasn't bad by any means. He was a pretty good lock for the playoffs in that season, and then they came to Michigan, where he had this crash. Now, if you watch Dale Jr.'s 2016 Michigan crash side by side with Kurt Busch's qualifying crash, what you'll notice is that they are kind of similar. Both of them get into the wall with the backside of their car first before smacking it with the front of it, meaning that both of them had that same whiplash effect that gave them their concussions. Now, it came out that Kurt Busch's crash is about 25 Gs, which shouldn't have given him a concussion, and there's a lot of questions about the next-gen car. I don't know too much whether or not it's the next-gen car or if it's Kurt Busch and his age, but there's a few factors here that are really going against Kurt Busch. First, though, I want to give a statement that he gave for IMS. He said on his Twitter account, "After undergoing further medical evaluation this week, I have not been cleared to race at Indy at this time. I remain dedicated to focusing on my recovery and getting back to the track and will continue to work closely with NASCAR's medical team and my own team of doctors. I'm thankful to 23XI and my sponsors for supporting me and also putting my health first. And to Ty for stepping in to race the number 45 Monster Energy Toyota Camry TRD. I am proud of his debut and know he will represent the 45 well again this weekend." Now, first off, health is the most important thing here. I don't care if Kurt Busch ever races again, as long as he's happy and healthy, that's what matters to me and should be what matters to all fans out there. Health comes above racing every single time. Safety comes above racing every single time. And in this instance, it's no different. But like I said, there's some things going against Kurt Busch here. The big one is that in a week, he's going to be 44 years old. He's not getting any younger. And unfortunately in sport, Father Time will always win. And while he's been fighting it valiantly, if you have noticed, his average finish has decreased every single year since 2018. Slowly but surely, he's starting to get it chipped away by Father Time, and a concussion will only make that go faster. Also, there's young drivers in the Toyota pipeline and coming into 23XI like Ty Gibbs and Tyler Reddick that can easily replace him. Kurt Busch is a great driver, but at the same time, the future needs to be built upon. Ty Gibbs is a driver who is a great talent in the Xfinity Series and by no means should be held too long there if Toyota and Joe Gibbs think he's ready. And with Tyler Reddick coming in, well, he may be coming in 24 or 23, depending on what RCR chooses to do with his contract and if Reddick wants out early. So that's another option that 23XI has. While they can stick with Kurt Busch this year, if it's something that's more long-term or really plays itself out to show as a detriment to the team, I wouldn't blame 23XI for letting the old veteran go and then having Tyler Reddick come in. I mean, Kurt Busch has openly discussed retiring at the end of 2022 or in 2023, and it's something that I don't think anyone knows for sure if he is sure on for next year, so this only makes that question go up even further. And with an injury like a concussion, I really think back to something that Ricky Craven had said about Dale Jr. when he had a similar injury. And talking about it, he had said it doesn't matter if he's out for a week, 2 weeks, half the season, multiple years. When you have a concussion, the worse it gets, the less of the driver you used to be comes back. That you're just not the same driver anymore. And when I look back at drivers who've been hurt, guys like Casey Kane, guys like Dale Jr., when they come back from an injury or they come back from what seems to be an injury, they're not the same driver anymore. They're a shell of their former selves, and they'll have brief moments, but at the same time, most of the season, they'll probably be about 75% of the driver they used to be. And that's what I worry with Kurt here. Kurt has been slowly regressing year over year when you look at average finish. Sure, he gets a win a year, but it definitely seems like year over year, he's gotten a little less and a little less and a little less competitive. And with a concussion, I think that only makes that gradual decline a steeper one. And I have no enjoyment in saying any of this. I personally like Kurt Busch. How many times do I get to see a fellow Cubs fan racing in the NASCAR Cup Series? Plus, he's a great personality. He's had a great redemption arc. And I hope I'm wrong here. But what I think here is with him being 44 years old in a week, with him slowly regressing already, with retirement being looming, and now with a concussion, with health issues added into all this, if Kurt Busch is out much longer than just the Indy Road Course, I think it is the end. Right now, I do think this starts the beginning of the end. I don't think Kurt Busch is in NASCAR in 2024 at this rate, and I question if he's in it in 2023 at this rate. Take it from someone who's had concussions before. They are insanely tricky to get rid of, and you might think that you'll be ready in a week, and it'll take a month and a half for you to be ready. I had a concussion when I was 14. I thought I'd be ready to play football again a week or two after. I was out for most of the season. It's something you never really can count on to be an injury that is very linear, something like a broken leg where you can see the healing. It all comes down to basically just how the brain heals over time, how Kurt Busch takes care of himself, and just how fast his body is going to heal it. It's not going to be something where you can map it out easily. If it's not too bad of a concussion, that's great, but a driver like Kurt Busch has probably had dozens of concussions driving in NASCAR since the early 2000s, late 90s with the other series, so it's probably going to be a longer recovery than it would have been otherwise. If it's a light concussion and it would have taken only a few days to walk off, it might take Kurt Busch 2 or 3 weeks to walk off because he's just had a longer history of injuries. So now with that, I know I'm ending on a bad note, but I want to pass it on to you. Do you think this is the beginning of the end for Kurt Busch, or do you think that me and a few others that are thinking this might be overreacting? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content. Then get all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.